Hi class, welcome back. Now let's have the next part of this lesson. So we are going to have biological process in human development part 2. So we already discussed part 1. So it's also uploaded here in YouTube. So I do suggest that you just check that out first before going to this part. Now let's go to the next page. Alright, so there are kinds of twins. Actually, there are two kinds of twins. So again, when fertilization happens, there would be a zygote. So that's zygote is the meeting of the egg cell and the sperm cell. Now, the zygote can be twins. All right. So these are the two kinds of twins. First is the identical or monozygotic twins, and second is the fraternal or dizygotic twins. Let's go first to the identical or monozygotic twins. These are twins that developed from a single zygote that split. They look alike because they share almost the same genetic makeup. So when the sperm and the egg cell meets, an identical or monozygotic twins, instead of just one zygote, this one zygote will split. So when these children grew up, they will look exactly the same. All right. So these are twins that looks like each other. All right. They have very identical parts because they have the same genetic makeup. So that's for identical or monozygotic twins. Now let's have the second one. The second one is the fraternal or dizygotic twins. These are twins that developed from the simultaneous union of two pairs of eggs and sperm cell. They do not share the same genetic makeup and may be of different gender, one male and one female. So fraternal or dizygotic twins requires two egg cells and two sperms uniting each other. So in identical or monozygotic twins, you just require one single zygote and then splits. In fraternal or dizygotic twins, you will need two egg cells and two sperm cells, and then they will meet. So there will be two zygotes. So when these twins grew up, they will not look exactly the same. Some of them will be male, or some of them would be both male, or some of them would have different sex. So as you can see here, sometimes they do not look like each other. All right. Okay, so sometimes there are twins that doesn't look like each other or doesn't look like twins at all. All right. So again, these are the two kinds of twins: the identical or monozygotic twins and the fraternal or dizygotic twins. Now, there are abnormalities in during fertilization or when the child is still in the womb. So now let's go first to the first type of abnormalities. That is the sex-linked abnormalities. These abnormalities due to the presence or extra chromosomes, absence or inactivity of chromosomes, or chromosomal breakage. So these are abnormalities due to the presence of an extra chromosome or absence, or the chromosome is not active at all. So again, we have 46 chromosomes. So these sex-linked abnormalities may be due to lack of chromosomes or their extra chromosomes. Now let's go to the first part, or the first one. We have the Klein syndrome. So we have here the XXY chromosome. So again, chromosomes can only be two: the XX, which is the female, and XY for the male. But with the Klein syndrome, they have three: XX and then an additional Y. It occurs when a genetic male has an extra X chromosome. So it means that this person who has a Klinefelter syndrome should be a male, and it has an extra X chromosome. They have an abnormal testis, no sperm production, reduced testosterone production. They are often tall, poor muscular development, and enlarged breast. Sometimes they have, when you see a person who is suffering with Klinefelter's syndrome, would have large breasts. That's because they have two X chromosomes, but they are male. Next, we have the super male syndrome. So in here, we have the XYY chromosome. In here, instead of just XY, they have an extra or another Y at the end. So they are males as well. They are taller than normal males. They are below average intelligence. Sometimes these are the ones who you can see that are very tall men, but their intelligence are poor. So that is super male syndrome, or XYY. Next, we have the Turner's syndrome. So that's XO. XO, it means that there is a missing chromosome. So this usually happens in a female. So instead of having XX, they will have XO. Alright, so there is a missing chromosome. They are often short and no menstruation. They have sexually underdeveloped females. So they are females, but you will see that there are some missing features on them. Sometimes they have flatter breasts, and they do not have menstruation. They're often really short. I'm not sure if Mahal, the very famous actress who is short and is called Mahal, is suffering of Turner syndrome. I'm not sure, but often these ladies who is suffering Turner syndrome are really short and does not have any menstruation. Next, we have the super female syndrome, the XXX chromosome. So contrary to the first one, this would have 3 X's on their chromosomes. They are females as well, but they have an extra X. So they are intellectually deficient females. So they have problems intellectually. They have problems in solving and making decisions, and many more. So they appears quite normal. So they look like they are normal, but they can't go with go with the class, and does not act average like any other females. So again, that's super female syndrome. They have 3 X's. Now, if we have sex-linked chromosomes abnormalities, which has a presence or an absence of a chromosome, we also have a non-sex-linked abnormalities. So in here, they have a defect in the 22nd pair of chromosomes or autosomes. So in here, they have complete set of chromosomes. However, there are defects on the chromosomes. It's either on the 22nd or the 18th chromosomes. But in here, it says 22nd pair of chromosomes or the autosomes itself. Now let's go to the first one. The first one is Down syndrome, or that's called trisomy 21. Okay, they have an extra chromosome appeared in the 21st pair of autosomes. So that's why it's called trisomy 21, because instead of having only 2 chromosomes in the 21st pair, they would have an extra chromosome that makes it 3. That's why it's called trisomy. So I believe some of us has encountered a person with Down syndrome. So they have a specific image that you can see that that child or that person is suffering with Down syndrome. So they are often mentally retarded, or they have very low intellectual capacity, sloping forehead, protruding tongue, short limbs, flattened nose, and oriental in appearance. So a Down syndrome, or a child who is suffering with the Down syndrome, can be physically seen because it's very evident. As you can see there, because of this extra chromosome on the 21st pair, it makes their appearance different than the others. There are things, or there are parts of their body or their appearance that are very quite easily detected that there is a problem with their chromosome. So you can see that they have sloping forehead, short limbs, flattened nose, and their appearance is also similar to other children who is suffering to Down syndrome or trisomy 21. Next, we have the Edwards syndrome, that's trisomy 18. And here, an extra sex chromosome appeared in the 18th pair of autosomes. So in here, in the 18th pair, instead of having two pairs, it will have another chromosome attached to the 18th pair. So they are abnormally small mouth, malformed ears, elongated skull, clenched hand, short breastbone, and with congenital heart disease. So I think Edwards syndrome has a lesser population than those who suffers or those who have Down syndrome. Edwards syndrome would be would have a smaller population. So like Down syndrome, Edwards syndrome also can be physically be seen, or it's very evident. All right. So again, the reason why these kinds of syndromes, or the non-sex linked syndromes, have or is evident in their appearance that there is a trisomy or a problem in their specific number of chromosomes is because of the extra sex chromosomes attached to the specific number of pair of autosomes. All right, so that's for the Edwards syndrome or trisomy 18. Next, we have the Pottas syndrome or trisomy 13. There is an extra sex chromosome appeared in the 13th pair of autosomes. They have defects on eye, nose, lips, ears, and forebrain. So having one eye at extreme cases, and has more than the normal number of fingers or toes. So Pottas syndrome, you can detect someone who has a Pottas syndrome. Also, if you can evidently see it because they have extra toes or fingers, or sometimes their eyes are different. This is due because of their 13th pair of autosomes. That makes them, or there is an extra chromosomes in their 13th pair. Again, that's Pottas syndrome, trisomy 13. All right, so that's the end of this discussion. The biological process, process in part 2. All right, see you again next time. Bye for now.